Hello, Theodore. First of all, congratulations on making it to quarterfinals.
Thank you, Finn.
Okay, I just have a few questions for you. So, first of all, would you agree that justice is in the interests of the United States?
Right, and I think we agreed on this in the last speech. The interest we're talking about here is justice.
And you'd still agree that justice is one of many interests of the United States?
Right, and you discussed that interest of national security, and you're also contending how there's no real national security threat. So those are the points of contention.
National security and also counterterrorism as well, right?
Sure.
So, would you agree that justice is not the only interest of the United States?
Right, there are many interests that we need to consider.
Okay. So you talked about, or specifically regarding my point of security, did you mention how federal courts are more secure than military commissions?
Yes, I brought up that piece of evidence discussing how there have actually been no attacks or any threats of attacks to federal courts that have actually ever been successful. So the idea that there's actually a threat when a terrorist is brought onto U.S. soil is mistaken.
So your contention is not that federal courts are just as secure as military commissions, it's just more that security has never been challenged by terrorists.
Well, you haven't really proven how the security standards are any different. And if there's no actual results of there being like a threat to the United States, then the standards may as well be the same because there's no actual threat.
Would you agree that in the current system, someone can be convicted in a federal court or in a military commission?
Right, and that's actually the problem with the current system. There's currently no actual metric used to determine whether someone is tried in a federal court or a military commission.
Okay.
It's the decision of the Secretary of State.
So would you agree that the Secretary of State is the one that decides whether or not it's in the U.S. interest to charge them in federal court or in a military commission?
Right, and it doesn't follow any specific standards. And since military commissions don't actually do anything better than federal courts, that option has no reason to exist.
But just to clarify this, it wouldn't be an arbitrary decision, but it's just the decision of the Secretary of State on whether or not it's in the U.S. interest.
When I say it's an arbitrary decision, I mean that we don't know what standards are used. And because military commissions are bad, there's no reason for any standards to be used.
Okay, but would you agree that that's not necessarily negating the fact that standards don't exist? Or that standards do exist?
Well, they may exist, but we're not informed of those standards, and we can really only look at the results. And the results are pretty poor for commissions.
Okay. Now, you mentioned a lot in your speech about the idea of justice being harmed under military commissions. Would you agree that terrorists don't deserve justice?
I disagree, because justice could go two ways. It is either for you or it's against you. And we believe that we can achieve justice against terrorists by trying them in federal courts. We're not being soft on terror by bringing them to the federal courts.
So your contention is more that we have to have justice because we need closure for victims.
Right, so we can punish the terrorists for what they deserve and bring closure to 9/11.
And just to clarify, would you agree that closure for victims should not be the highest idea of justice in today's world?
I disagree. I believe that and also just punishing terrorists for what they deserve are the two things really at stake that we're working towards.